Welcome to another episode of Silvie and Diddy React. I'm Silvie, and today I'm joined by Dr. Evil, aka Mike. Mike, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Silvie.
And
A
I'm
million thanks, or make that a billion.
for this episode, I'm actually going to give a video that Mike has no idea about. Before I reveal the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and comment because I respond to the comments, and so does Mike. That's how we met him.
I was going to say,
But
that's how we met.
but one of the things, actually two things that I've known about you, Mike, is that you have experience as a pilot. And in our last debate discussion, you talked about aliens, and it is close to the 4th of July. So I found a video that meets this trifecta. I'm going to have you
By
respond.
the way, we should make a distinction that is not Punctious Pilot.
Yes. Not Pontius Pilate, but the actual pilot that transports you from A to B in the sky. And so I'm going to have you react to a clip from Independence Day where a pilot is taking on an alien. And
And I have not seen the movie,
you
if
have
it
not.
matters.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I've only seen part of it. I kind of tapped out. So this will be interesting. So I'm going to start sharing this, but this is Will Smith as a pilot, and he's being chased by an alien spaceship. Tell me to pause whenever you have a thought. We can let it run, but this is you reacting. One quick test just to make sure that you hear it. Can you hear it?
I hear it. Yeah,
All right.
if it matters from your end, it's much louder than our bass sound level.
All good.
I don't know if you want to throttle it down or whatever.
Yeah, we can do that just a little bit. Let's test it now. Feel low. All right. Any comments about this readout for the his so he's flying, I believe, an F-15.
All right. Any comments on this readout? That's your question?
Yeah, any so
All right.
far.
By the way, I have not heard any sound since you adjusted the sound, but
Yeah,
you
I didn't
paused it
play it
on it.
yet, but
All
I
right.
paused it on the screen. So Will Smith is looking at his you feel low
All right.
screen.
All right. So I'll just, yeah, we can all read this together. So he's uh, tank a quarter. I don't know how to, oh, tank one. Okay. So he's got these outboard tanks are at basically half full. Is that what I'm understanding? And the inboard tanks 2 and 3, it doesn't give a readout. So I
Hmm.
would, it sounds like something to note in the maintenance log. Because they both should have a level, right? Right? If I'm reading that right. It's been a long time since I've flown an F-14. So, all right. So we're getting warning and transfer valve. Oh, there you go. So I was correct. A transfer valve failure and a vapor trigger jam. All right.
Is that a
Mission
thing or is
terminate.
this movie BS?
It's. I'm sure they gave it to an 18-year-old computer genius in Mumbai, but
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know one way or the other, but so I was correct that there's some kind of failure in the readout there. All right, I don't know. Let's see, mission termination inoperative. So
Imperative.
that imperative. Okay, so the
Yeah.
mission termination. Okay, so it's telling me I must terminate.
Yeah. Terminate the mission.
Continue on.
See if you can fly that thing undercover. Hope you got an airbag.
Sorry,
So,
that drop always gets me.
so first of all, yeah, so it's got the twin straight up tails, right? So that's the
Mhm.
F-14 Tomcat. The
Okay.
15, the F-15 Navies come out a bit, and then the F-18 Hornet comes out of more. But anyway,
Ah.
yeah, so it is a Tomcat. And I did notice that run there through the deep valleys is seems to be derivative of Star Wars circa 1977.
Got ourselves a trench run here.
Okay, let's. I'm sorry I ruined your moment here with
No,
the.
no, this is
Um,
good.
all right, let's continue on.
I was just going to draw your attention to this. So one of the things I noticed is they probably had a dummy for the first landing because it literally is just like the parachute falls and the guy's just like you hear the crack and
Then
you're
there's a
like, ooh.
cut.
And then there's a cut and it's Will Smith. But I'll take it back just a
You
second so we
can't.
can.
You can't. Union laws won't let you put in
Yeah.
a stunt double. You've got to use
This isn't
a
Tom
non-human.
Cruise. He's going to probably do his own stunts. Yeah.
Fish. Ah! That's right! That's right!
You got to cut it.
Look at you! Ship all banged up! Who's the man? Huh? Who's the man? Wait till I get another plane! I'm lining all your friends up right beside you! Where you at, huh? Huh? Where you at? Welcome to Earth.
So, so there is a. So not only do I have a UFO close encounter, that would that
Mhm.
be that is it was across the street. I actually
Yeah.
have two, which I understand would make my sighting more suspicious. I am also a UFO enthusiast, so now I'm compounding. People who are assembling a psychological profile of me would say I might be apt to want these things to happen. With that said, there was a very close encounter in a Brazilian town. It's pronounced Velaje or something like that, where there's this whole town. There's 50 of these people in this town that saw that spoke and handled what they said was this being from another a planet other than Earth. Anyway, the reason I asked you to pause this here is because they touched this creature and got burned, and one of them, I believe it was a soldier, a Brazilian soldier, died. This is the story.
Yes. So
Oh, are you familiar?
that's an interesting point. Um,
Yeah, you don't
like
want to touch these things.
yeah, I was gonna say like you have no idea of like the toxicity or the material.
They might be
That
from an
yeah,
acid-based
yeah.
whatever. You have no idea.
And there's like Will Smith. I'll go back just a second.
So for
So
those of you
alien.
young people out there, if you
Yeah.
encounter a being that you believe to be from another planet, you might want to use be prudent about how you approach this thing.
You might need to use a gun instead of your hand. So you can see right here. Bam! Just bare hand, not even a glove. Like that. Maybe a glove, but goodness.
Yes, yes. And actually, I mean, we have, I grew up in Southern California, and geez, I used to go swimming. Speaking of movies from the 1970s, I used to go swimming past the breakers, and I would never do that now after seeing Jaws. But I
Yeah.
would get, uh, what would you call it? Sting. I would get stung from jellyfish. What do you call those things? You get
Really?
red mark. Yes. Oh,
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Yeah, I'd come, I was 12, 13, 14 years old, whatever that was. You don't know any better. And you'd come
Yeah.
back and, Mommy, I got, I mean, that was just considered kind of normal.
Oh,
So
wow.
even there's creatures even on Earth that you don't want to touch.
Fair enough. You had mentioned that you are a UFO enthusiast. My question would be, which came first, the encounter or the enthusiasm? Because that could
Okay.
be telling.
So, uh, I think I related this to you when during our debate, where I read back when there were libraries, and for that matter, back when there were books, I would go to the library practically every day, and I remember reading one of these books, and it wasn't Eric von Daniken's blockbuster Chariots of the Gods. It was another one. I can't remember the title, but I do remember the subtitle, which was, "What if the Bible is not only true, but literally true?"
Mhm.
And there's all these points in the Bible where, if you take it one way, you got what we have
Yeah.
now. And if you take it another way, this is how the History Channel has spawned its very popular series, right? Ain't they, what's that called? Aliens. So I watch those all the time, by the way, too. So, yes. So when I remember that I mentioned the book Chariot of the God to my father. And this is, the late 70s, I guess. I was 14, 15, 16, something like that. And I remember he poo-pooed it. But I, even then,
Mhm.
realized, look, this explains everything. I mean, even, I was a young teenager and I was like, oh, I got it all solved. And here I am, a million years later. And I think this explains everything. Uh, Not that there can't also be some being that created the universe or universes, multiverses, and not that there can't be some afterlife. And if there is one, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be judged. But I do conduct my life as if I'm going to be judged for my actions are going to be judged in an afterlife. We don't know, but I get this all the time directed to me. So why didn't you just believe in Jesus? Better to be safe than sorry, right? That's
Well, it sounds like you're doing like at least part of the Cartesian bet where you're saying, hey, I know that it's more risky not to live as if there is a God. Um, but then like you might say like, but I'm still skeptical,
you know
of like,
what I
mhm.
remember. I remember about in these wars. I remember reading about one war. I can't remember which one it was, and there were these soldiers, burning down these bridges, these villages, and raping the women.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, I couldn't do that. I would go there and want to protect them. Um, Not because I was, what was I responding to, right? So
Yeah.
that's the question. I wasn't, I wasn't holding back any innate desire I have to rape women. I have
Mhm.
zero of that in me. Uh, why don't I share that? DNA? Is it culture from, you know, back when you can't even remember when you're 2 years old? I have no idea.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I've thought about this my whole life. Why can't I? Again, if I had 1,000 soldiers on my team with me, and I would be there protecting the innocent.
Mhm. I think sometimes like the goodness, not to get too political, but when you had the Israel and Gaza conflict that was happening recently, and just one of the parallels that I saw pretty quickly was even some of the language used. It reminded me of the historical accounts from kind of the westward expansion in the United States. where it's
Mm.
the United States is fighting a lot of these American Indian tribes, and it gets brutal so quick. And like I just think a lot of it, like in those situations, it you're just, and even like you can see it from like some of the really intense conflicts, like the warring clans, uh Hatfields and McCoys, but it's just like, you know, this
Well, when it
person like
gets to be
attacks me, yeah, and then it's just like I have no restraint because
so
I'm so
modern
enraged. Yeah.
warfare can become so sterile. You get
Hmm. Yeah.
BFR, beyond visual range weapons. You get guys now in underground bunkers, flying drones, dropping missiles with literal pinpoint accuracy from the other side of the world. And even in like the Civil War, you can see the whites of their eyes.
Yeah.
And what do you think those bayonets are for?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You run out of bullets and you got to knife the guy. And, in any other situation, these people you're fighting, that'd be your buddy. It's a,
But yeah, no, definitely. It's just like when I saw that modern account, it's just, yeah, it's like, wow, how easy it is to descend into that. And bringing it back to the video that we're reacting to, one of the things that happens in war, especially, is you alienate, literally, like you other the person so
you
that they're
have
not.
to
Yeah,
dehumanize them. This is
yeah.
what the Nazis did with the Jews, right? That they aren't human, and now you can, kill them. I would use the word murder, but murder is a legal determination.
But
But
yeah,
you,
like
but they would
you
be,
slaughter them. Like it's not just
yeah, because,
yeah.
yeah, nope,
But I was going to say too, like even in all of like the American wars that I know of, I think if it's true in like the Mexican American and like earlier, but like I just remember like, in Germany we called them the Krauts, in Japan we called them Japs. Uh Charlie for the Viet Cong, and just
well, in some of that,
jihadis. Like, yeah,
I think some of that, like shortening Japs was literally just for headlines, right? You can't
yeah.
fit that all in. I think that's a lot of that, but
Yeah.
caricatures
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
propaganda where you show they're not like us. That, yeah,
Oh
that's a
yeah.
different issue. So that, yeah, that was done.
Oh,
And
for sure. Yeah. I was
I
reading
mean,
a
they
book, yeah, where it actually looked at the propaganda for the Japanese and the Americans, and sometimes they would both use the same type of propaganda about the other side, where it's like, look at this like soulless person who has no will.
and they
Um,
deserve to die.
yeah, yeah. And it's just like, whoa, you use the same exact thing
Right.
that they're saying about you.
And you look what's going on in the Koreas. It's the same. They're the same people. They're the same ethnicity, and you just draw an artificial border there. Same thing happened in Germany, right? Right when the wall was being constructed, there were still people playing musical chairs. Which side do you want to stand on
Yeah.
before
No,
the wall gets completed?
that's crazy. Yeah. All right, let's finish up. We have like a few more minutes of the video. I don't know if there's anything in particular.
Welcome to Earth.
Pulls out the
That's what
cigar.
I call a close encounter.
Smoking's bad for him. Does he know that? That the Surgeon General has determined.
Well, yeah, he's a pilot. You know these pilots, they
Yeah, that's World War II. They don't do that anymore. Right, that would be the thing. Well, right, you'd barter with the cigarettes.
Yeah, right. I don't know. You might have more experience with this, but it seems like there's a caricature, and I don't know how real it is, of pilots kind of being less risk averse, let's say, than your average human being.
I remember I'd fly my cargo route, and so there's rules, when you're flying for compensation, that is a commercial pilot, you're holding yourself out to perform air carrier services for compensation. And there are rules, for example, on what kind of weather conditions you can even depart on. And your destination airport has to have, a forecast condition that allows you, based on your op specs, your operating specifications, what you're trained for and what your aircraft is equipped for, before you can even depart for it. With that said, there were times when my competitors would be on the ground and I would make it to my same destination. And my couriers would say, "Oh, you're such a good pilot." Well, was I? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or did I depart maybe when it was it might have been literally illegal, or I might have been more risk tolerant,
Right.
or made a poor decision based
Yeah.
on trying to please my client. So all this gets a little squishy, these deep ethical questions. So when you mention less risk averse, there's a distinction between maybe like an airline pilot, which I never was. I was operating on what's known as Part 135,
Mhm.
and the airlines are Part 121, which has a higher standard and bigger aircraft and that type of thing. But there are nations out there that recruit from colleges and put them into aviation school. So they're not necessarily, when you're flying at that level, you're managing the systems more than, maybe what you were alluding to.
All right, here we go.
But no, you got me out here dragging your heavy ass through the burning desert with your dreadlocks sticking out the back of my parachute. You gotta come down here with an attitude, acting all big and bad. And what the hell is that smell?
I'm saying the sulfur. It's sulfur. That's what they say in Brazil.
So realistically, Will Smith should not have survived the encounter.
Don't touch him. Boys and girls out there, don't touch the alien. That's just my advice. If you learn anything from this video, don't touch the aliens.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Been at a barbecue! But I ain't mad. It's all right. That is all right.
And that's it. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual.
I'm just saying, you don't have YouTube Prime?
Yeah. No, as I told you before, we even recorded. Diddy and I are very cheap people, we operate off the free. So that includes today's unofficial sponsor.
It's too painful. You know what? The internet is a loud place with all these pop-ups and which, by the way, Chrome is, so all these major browsers, I guess, other than, well, there's some like Brave and some of these other ones, but those that run on the Chromium engine, we are like literally days away from having something known as Manifest 3, where, just not to lose the rest of your audience here, that it's going to really affect ad blockers. So Google's,
a good way or a bad way?
Well, the way Google will frame it is that it's for our safety. But those who are more skeptical will note the fact that it will allow more ads through your browsers. But anyway, it's called Manifest 3, and I think it's supposed to start maybe like literally today or tomorrow, something like that.
Oh my gosh. So, after watching this clip, final thoughts about planes, aliens, and 4th of July.
Yeah. So, well, Independence Day. Yeah. So, if I can drop a truth bomb out there, America's birthday is not actually July 4, 1776. That is the day that the colonies declared their independence from Great Britain. America was actually founded on April 30, 1789. So if you're ever on Jeopardy, that is America's, was that 13 years later or whatever. So any other thoughts of 4th of July? Well, we have a great country, and are we not supposed to get political? I'm happy that Trump has fixed everything, and he fixed practically everything in one day. And it is amazing that he had so many people were taking notes of every little thing. I couldn't believe he went right down the list and undid everything. So yeah, it's our great country will continue on. I am now confident. And yeah, just the rule of law and common sense. Why not? Because we've had people, again, we're going to lose, both of us are going to lose viewers, but we've had people at the highest level who literally hated America, who hated the Constitution, who hated Great Britain, who hated Western civilization, who hated capitalism, who hated Christianity and Judaism and Israel and great blah blah blah. And it's nice to have people who love America and everything associated with it. And what else about aliens?
Yeah, aliens and airplanes.
I do have a second UFO encounter that I can just drop on everybody real quickly here. So they don't know. My first one is the juicy one, but I did have another. The way I described it, right? There's this mountain in the center of Riverside, California, it's called Mount Rubidoux. Oh, and if I can tie this into the 4th of July, it's known for burning down every 4th of July because it doesn't rain in Southern California for like 6 months. So everything's crispy brown in July 4th. And they launched the fireworks there. So they call it the annual burning down of Mount Rubidoux. So you like how I tied all that in together?
I do.
But at the other side of this mountain, so this mountain kind of divides Riverside with this unincorporated area called Mount Rubidoux, which is where the airport that I flew out of is located. I did see another, what we would now describe as an orb, when I was coming back at night to my home airport there. And I did see, I don't, it's not interesting. It was just an orb. I saw it over the airport. It moved around and then literally disappeared. It's not nearly as interesting as the other tale, but it's odd that they were both of these. They were probably 3 years apart. I think that second one I saw 3 years later, and they're just like on other sides of that same small mountain. That mountain probably rises only about 3,000 feet or so. So yeah. And what else? I'm doing a good job of tying everything. You got anything else you want to throw at me here?
Airplanes.
I'm enjoying my first reaction video, by the way.
I love it. I love it.
Most fun
Part of it is the journey we go on when we react to these videos.
No, when you mentioned, you invited me for a reaction video, and I thought about it, and I commented, I said, that's a good idea for content. Yeah, and I especially like this where we don't know. And you show up, and it could be anything. It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun.
You got mail.
Oh, apparently I have mail. This is on my list of things. So when I do my streams, my sermons, as I call them, I have a checklist. So when I first started, it was just a mess. And there was one I was deep into, and my dog, Daisy, or 90 pounds, he's probably 95 pounds now, Doberman, sitting right at my feet, chewing on a hollow bone, just chewing it. And I thought, she's going to get bored and leave. And it just kept going on and on and on. And you could hear it. And, you get these sensitive microphones. So anyway, I put that on the checklist. And then every week, something else is screwing up. And usually it's small stuff, but you keep, so I do have it on my list for my streams to turn the volume down on my speakers. It's never happened, but here it happens here. Yeah, you got mail. So you're probably too young to have experienced this, but that was the original. They made a movie from it. That was the original.
Yeah.
You've got mail tone for AOL. and I
Oh
was
no,
one of these.
I'm used to that.
So
Because
I
my
was one of
parents,
these early
yeah.
adopters. I had an AOL account. It was $10 a month,
Mhm.
and I paid for it for basically two reasons. Well, basically one reason. I wanted David Letterman's top 10 list.
There we
That's,
go.
it was worth it. $10 a month. I figured, oh, that's worth it.
When I was growing up, we switched between Juno, which was free, and AOL, which you had to pay for. But I distinctly remember that in childhood, so that was it's a good callback. I appreciate it.
Well, I know you didn't use, I'm sure, Prodigy, right? From Sears. So
No.
that had one with these, 24 baud modems, and then it got to 48, and you were so fancy, and you would have these, you create these paths. See, that's what they all tried to do back then, right? They
Hmm.
wanted you to stay in these paths on their territory. And then people realize, wait, the whole world's out there. What am I
Yeah,
doing?
that's crazy.
Well, I
So
think,
next time you're going to get the video for me to respond to, right?
by the way, see this sound?
Yeah.
I made that sound, and I make this sound all the time. I go, and then no sound was coming out. And I realized I put in a noise filter
Uh-huh.
and it blocks that. so
Blocks
I
your authenticity, Mike. Don't let it
so
block your
I
authenticity.
undid it. Okay, so it's my turn next time. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. I will I'll see. I need to think of something as surprising, because I was thinking something kind of
Yeah,
religiously,
you
even
were ready
though
for it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Paul really create Christianity. What do you think about whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to have to. This is going to preoccupy me now about how I can trick you with some weirdness. So anyway, I always enjoy you,
Thank
and
you. Same here.
I enjoy. We're on different. We've looked around, we've studied the evidence and our life experiences, and we've each doing what we think is right, but we've reasoned our way through it, and you know. Um, Hopefully, uh, there's not a Jesus who's going to reject everyone who hasn't. I don't believe that for an instant. But anyway.
I will have to follow up on that because that's a good question. Because one of the things you had mentioned, which I know we're coming to the last few minutes, but you had mentioned the idea of former presidents that reject Christianity and Judaism. And I'm curious, for somebody who is not quite bought into that,
Yeah. So I
what
will
does
jump
it
in here.
mean? Yeah, what does it mean if they do reject that? Like,
So right.
hmm,
So we have a minute left, or a minute and a little.
two
By the way,
minutes.
there was
Explain
one talk.
yourself.
There was this one talk radio. I've been addicted to talk radio my whole life, and I remember the guy. His name is Michael Jackson, KABC, talk radio, Los Angeles, the first talk radio format ever in the United States, or presumably the world. And I remember him telling a story that he was on TV, and they gave him like the 5 second count, and he said something in 5 seconds, and then they cheered him, and he says they weren't applauding about what I said, but they were applauding that I finished within their time before they had, right. So that says everything you need to know about TV.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. Do what? Look, I'd rather live in a Christian nation uh, instead of a Muslim one.
Hmm.
Uh, and Dennis Prager, he's seriously injured himself, right? Dennis Prager. I
Hmm.
remember him saying, if you're walking alone in a dark alley at night, in the middle of the night, and there's a group of young men approaching from the other direction, would you prefer that they have come from a basketball game or from Bible study?
Yeah, I have heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to live in a society where people believe that they're going to be that we have, first of all, you got to have these standards of behavior, right? So I guess we'll call that the 10 Commandments, or 11, right? Jesus added the one in Mark, thou shalt not defraud. So I guess there's 11 of them. but as long as we have sound principles, and people believe that they have to adhere to them, or they're going to be tormented by this by this entity forever. It keeps everybody, presumably behaving well.